The band Head was formed in late 1994 by members Jared Gomez, aka MC Underdog, and guitarist Wes Gear. Now, they would meet in Orange County in the underground scene and whatnot, and record their first demos in 1995, eventually changing the name to Head PE, meaning Planet Earth, due to, I guess, some legal issues or something. But the band would prove to be very popular in the area, and after just a few years, they signed with Jive Records. And this would prove to be the band's most commercially successful period. With their 2 albums on Jive, Broke and Blackout respectively, they found themselves on the charts, music videos of them being played on repeat on MTV. And they were featured on many film and video game soundtracks. And they even played Ozfest a few times. I specifically remember seeing this video almost every single time I turned my TV on. Jared Gomez, who at this point was basically the sole leader of the group, has stated that Jive was trying to achieve commercial success by forcing a nu metal sound on them. Gomez stated in 2011, "All my decisions were being overlooked by the record company I was under when producing it, causing me to hold back on things, change song structures, and all other kinds of shit in order to try to get into the radio-friendly scene and fit with the nu metal movement. And as I complied, I grew to dislike what I was becoming." Gomez said he would try to make the band's next album, Only in America, as uncommercial as possible. The band would go on a more independent route and sign with Coke Records for their next release. A more harsh take on their overall sound, really going for a different take to try to differentiate themselves from, the Jive Records days. And of course, the group would go even deeper in the underground with their next release, Back to Basics, released on Suburban Noize Records. Gomez stated on working with Suburban Noize Records at the time, "Suburban Noize is different because when you're on a record label, you have an outside manager that fights with your label to supposedly help you out in the end. At Subnoize, the management is the label, so it's kind of just this cool symbiotic thing where they just help each other out. It's a family over there of normal guys who are sincerely concerned with their artists' careers, where at the other labels, it's just more cutthroat and people are just trying to make that quick buck off of you." And of course, being newly signed to Subnoize Records, Head PE would do a lot of touring with Cottonmouth Kings, and Gomez had this to say about it. "This is the best tour that we've been on, and it's just ridiculous. Cottonmouth Kings, they're just a phenomenon. There is only a handful of bands that can draw these types of numbers and sell these types of units without being on MTV and radio on the constant. It's a statement against the status quo. Being a part of it is the greatest thing." So Subnoize seemed to welcome them with open arms, and everything was going good. And, ironically, this first album didn't have any features, which I really thought it would, at least like Daddy X or something. But no features from any Subnoize players on the first album. The next album, Head PE would release on Subnoize, 2007's Insomnia, would have a more Subnoize feel overall. As the group seemed to be settling in, so to speak, this time around we would get features from Subnoize All-Stars like Big B and KMK. As well as a Tech 9 feature. And if you're in a Head PE, I think this is one of their best albums overall. It's a fun time, and in my opinion has some of the best punk rock, or rip hop or whatever, that was ever released from the Subnoize label. You really feel that the group was growing at Subnoize, and that they were just right at home. The next Subnoize project would be 2009's New World Orphans. That would feature a heavy conspiracy theory vibe, and would essentially be that kind of album. And in my opinion, this is among their weaker attempts. Though we still get some features, of course, like from Cottonmouth Kings and Dirtball respectively. And hey, it even charted higher than Insomnia, so what do I know? The lead single, Renegade, would probably be the most successful single since their early days, and it would be featured in a lot of media as well. And I just cannot stand this song, I'm sorry. In 2010, Head PE would release Truth Rising on Suburban Noize Records, proving to be their last record with the label. For a while. As Gomez allegedly stated at the time that the label was imploding in on itself. And, things kind of line up timeline-wise as far as the drama we know unfolding over there. As far as Zinger and Brad X goes. So I'm guessing Head PE was kind of not given the right amount of attention as a band, or maybe their album wasn't given enough attention. Who knows? Also, ironically, there would be no Subnoize artist features this go around either. Rather, we would get a feature from LaJean Witherspoon of Sevendust fame. No small feat. And the group would do a number of shows of Suicidal Tendencies and Infectious Grooves around this time, and the album would be heavily influenced and lead in that funk metal direction, which was interesting. But overall, I feel it was fairly lackluster, and I wonder what Jared thinks of this one these days. Huh. One thing I feel that hurt the band is their constant presence. Nothing wrong with an album every year or anything like that. I'm not saying that. It's just if you're not going to change it up, then why even bother? And I get it, for a while there it seemed that their sound really was evolving, but the group always seemed to just come right back to the new metal rap stuff. Styles that Gomez apparently hates being compared to. But I'm assuming that Gomez found his sound, or a sound that worked, and a sound that got him some real success. And we can't hate on that. They did experiment and stuff too. I'm not saying that, but I always felt that Gomez always could have pushed the experimental side a bit further. And, especially considering how he got started. I mean, let's take a look at his first band, The Clue. Now that's badass. I mean, this is like an explosion of creativity and spandex and early Faith No More kind of mixed with Mr. Bungle and, DOA vibes. I mean, what the hell is this? This is awesome. And then Gomez would even find some weight with Live Urban Sex Tribe from 1991 to 1994. And with this group, you can see a lot of early Head PE vibes, really starting to form, though the experimental stuff was still very raw and present, even up front. Regardless, the band released their next two albums with Pavement music, as they officially cut ties with Subnoize. And they would basically keep going with their sound, a bit more melodic if anything this time around. Head PE would then release their next album via a deal with Pavement and Subnoize respectively, 2019 Stampede, which would be a more hip-hop based project and way more easier on the ears. And there's a lot of reggae and stuff on this one, and the new metal elements were basically gone for the most part. And now that Gomez wasn't working with the same guitarists and stuff like that, which also contributed to his early success, this one is a cool album. As I said, it's an easygoing, way less harsh album from the band, and it makes for an easy listen as a result.
Try to see through the fog, but the pathway disappears. So we go to work, go to war. You live your life on the face, I leave it all in the cage.
I kind of feel like this album was a little side thing that Jared did, as the next album would bring back the full band. In 2020, Head PE released Class of 2020 on Subnoize Records, again bringing back the new metal and funk elements, and the reggae and rap, and the dudes are here in full effect. And if I may say so, it's with these last few albums that Gomez really seems comfortable, if that makes any sense. The production is all on point, and I regret not seeing them on tour for this one when I had the chance. So basically, that brings us up to speed as far as Head PE goes. Head PE is Jared Gomez. So, it was very cool how involved he was in the recent King Click track.
So real. Yeah, I'm already dead.
Yo, I'm already dead. 2020, my nigga, not in the loop. We get 100, my nigga, you need to choose.
And of course, the overall Head PE musical feel of the Whitney Payton, all-star lineup track Every Day. They even have a new album, Sandmine, out right now that again pushes the boundaries of the experimental sound and creativity. And I, for one, am looking forward to what the band has coming down the pipeline.
You know what's coming. Now we feel like a mess. We getting it in. You should have been ready away.
It's very cool to see the band back with Subnoize full force again.
Guess a girl need a new lover, and your bitch chose me, motherfucker.
I just want your company.
To say the least, the career of Jared Gomez is just very, very interesting. Strange to think just how long Gomez has been around. How many albums he's done, you know? Dude's pretty old now, and in my opinion, I feel like he's just hitting his stride. Hell yeah, man. What are some of your favorite Head PE or Subnoize tracks? Let me know down in the comments. And please hit that notification bell. YouTube keeps taking people off of that for some reason.